Hey everyone! In this video, I'll show you how to replace the outer CV joint using my Audi A6 C5 as an example. I'll try not to skip anything and record a video demonstrating in detail what and how I'm doing it. In my previous videos, I showed how to replace the outer CV joint without removing suspension arms, but this time I'll try to follow the instructions completely. That means I'll loosen one of the control arms to access the drive shaft and replace the joint. The outer CV joint on the left side of my car started crunching, so the first step is to loosen the hub bolt. I remove the cap from the disc, then engage the gear and use a suitable socket and a breaker bar to loosen the bolt. Once the bolt starts to come loose, I can lift the car and remove the wheel to access the suspension. After removing the wheel, I can unscrew the hub bolt. To access the CV joint, either we remove the upper control arms by extracting a long bolt or remove the lower control arms. I find it easier to remove the upper control arms, so I clean the bolt area and use wrenches to loosen the nut. If the bolt starts turning, we hold it with a spanner wrench and use a ratchet to loosen the nut, but not entirely so we can knock the bolt out. Once the bolt is out, we can use a screwdriver to remove or knock out the upper control arms. I've removed the suspension arms. Now the steering knuckle is not held from the top, and it's already evident that the CV joint is almost out of its seating place. For convenience, you can turn the wheels, but as you can see, there's enough space to access the joint without doing so. We've removed the CV joint from the hub. Now we need to remove it from the drive shaft. To do this, we remove the dust boot clamps. After the clamps, we pull off the dust boot and proceed to remove the joint. We take the bolt that we unscrewed from the hub, position the joint evenly, and screw in the bolt until it stops. I felt the bolt hit the drive shaft, so now I engage the gear to prevent the axle from rotating and start screwing the bolt until the joint housing tightens onto the drive shaft splines. The bolt is screwed in, and it pushed out the CV joint. This time, I managed to remove the joint without any issues, but be prepared for the possibility that the retaining ring may get stuck and then you'll need to use a cut-off wheel. To make it easier to work, I clean the drive shaft from grease and remove all rings and washers. I've cleaned the drive shaft, and now I can fit the new joint. We take the new CV joint. Its special feature is that grease is already applied, so we immediately start with fitting the clamp and then tension the dust boot. Next, we install 2 washers. Pay attention to the video on how they should be positioned. And don't forget to install the retaining ring. In the final step, we install the CV joint, which, as I mentioned earlier, already has grease applied. To make the CV joint sit properly, I use the old bolt to press the joint onto the drive shaft until it hits the washers. See, the plastic washer is inside the joint. After that, we put on the dust boot to prevent dirt from getting in and tighten the clamps. I replaced the small clamp with a screw-type one for convenience since I couldn't tighten it well. But from this side, I'll use the clamp that came with the kit. I tightened the clamp with pliers. Pay attention to the clamps, because if they're not tightened properly, the dust boot may twist and tear during turns. To finish the job, we return the joint to its place. We lift the steering knuckle, insert the upper control arms, and tighten them with the long bolt. Then we put on the wheel, tighten the hub bolt, and take a test drive. As you can see, there's nothing complicated about replacing the joint.